DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. A reminder, don't miss your chance to win big every week on The Zone. This week on Win Ticket Wednesday, you can win tickets to see The Offspring in the Supercharged Worldwide in 25 Tour with special guest Jimmy E. World and Newfound Glory September 6th at the Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater. Listen to The Zone all day Wednesday for your chance to win. DJ and PK, we're joined once again by Mark Durrant, BYU basketball radio analyst. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, my friends. It's always a pleasure to talk to you guys.
Especially now.
It is more pleasurable to talk to you under these circumstances, yes.
These are the best circumstances, not after a win, not after several wins, after an NCAA tournament win. They have been rare. They have been elusive. At what point did you believe they got this? It's going to be a W. I'm going on with DJ and PK tomorrow to talk about the good times.
Well, it took a while. This team has proven to be really good at getting a big lead and then letting it slip away a little bit. So it was pretty late in that game until I felt pretty secure. But, there's been a lot of talk about this program and their lack of success in tournament play. And so I was, as a fan, I just wanted to see them kind of move past that and take a couple steps in the right direction. And I think they certainly did that yesterday.
Yeah, I watched the first 30 minutes, and then I was driving up to Utah practice for their spring football. And so I'm listening on the radio, and I thought you were cool. I thought your cohort was going to burst a vessel there. I mean, he just seemed like it was, oh, my gosh. And you had to keep reassuring him, no, 20-point leads. That's why you have them. So then when you give up an 8-2 run, oh, my gosh, it's an 8-2 run, that you can withstand it. So I thought you were the cool customer. He was obviously a little nervous there, but I get it. It's all what you want. It's fun. And to me, I thought there was a level of controlling the game, and I'm a big body language dude, and I thought the guys, right from the start, really felt like we've got this. And for me, and I don't have the fan investment, I understand, but I thought that there was like no feeling, oh my gosh, this thing is really slipping away. And how much do you think that the regular season, I mean, they had the Iowa State game, but yet they won that game despite blowing the lead, despite a staggering amount of turnovers, all that stuff that they've gone through from January and February. How much do you think that gives them the confidence to know we can do this?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I mean, I joked about them, no lead being safe for them, but really it was pretty safe. I mean, in those games where they did have a lead, and maybe they gave up some of it, they ended up winning the game. You mentioned the Iowa State game; it's a good example, and so I think the thing about this team, and I don't know if it's Kevin Young coming in, but there seems to be a shift in mentality from, man, I hope we win this game. Right. I hope we don't throw it away to, yeah, we're going to win, and maybe they'll make a little run, but we're fine.
Right.
And I think that's the sign of a good team. You can't go through the Big 12 the way they did and with the games they won without having a real belief in yourself and kind of a lack of fear. And so, I think that's kind of done in BYU in tournaments past. It's like, well, we're here, and I hope we can somehow find a way to win. But rather this year they're here like, yeah, of course we're going to win this game. We're the six, and we're going to win, and we're going to go, and we're going to have compete against Wisconsin and give them all that they can have. And so I like that about this team. I like the mentality, and again, I hope that's something that is not just unique to this team, but will be a characteristic of the program going forward.
It's one of the benefits of getting multiple years in a row getting NCAA tournament bids, that the first time you do go there wide-eyed, but the second time we often see teams with a lot more confidence because they've been there and they know what to expect. And teams change so much now. So sometimes you're bringing guys who have it, or you have a core of guys who are coming back. They cashed in on that. Do you think they have the same attitude versus Wisconsin, or is it more we hope to compete as opposed to we know we can take these guys down?
Well, I think speaking for the fan, I think the big thing was to get that win.
Mm-hmm.
In the progression of the program going forward, I think it was important to make a step to get a win in the tournament. Certainly fans hope that they can win a couple more games, but I think the team absolutely believes they can beat Wisconsin Saturday. I don't think it's we came here what we did to do. Came here to do what we did, and we got one win. And I absolutely think, why would Wisconsin be any different than playing Iowa State or someone like that in the Big 12? And you've competed against those teams, you beat those teams, and so absolutely, I think this team believes that that's a game they can win and that they can move forward and go into next week. And so we'll see how it goes. Obviously, I watched the Wisconsin game. They're very solid. They kind of reminded me of a little bit better Utah team in that they're big and they take it hard to the basket, but I probably have a little bit more talent on the squad than Utah, obviously, but they're a similar type of team, and it's going to be a challenge, but I think this team certainly believes that they can beat Wisconsin.
What do you think's going through the mind of Igor Denim, a kid from Russia, a kid who's 19 and looks maybe 14? And, he comes out, he hits the threes early. It's like the audacity to even shoot them when you're shooting in the 20s. But it doesn't seem like it's affecting him one way or the other. And we saw that for the good. And I'm really intrigued about him and his mindset because BYU really hasn't had a player like this since Chosich, probably 50 years ago, of a kid coming from the other side of the world and being as skilled and going through this. How do you think he's handling all this? Because just the way he goes about the game and his life has fascinated me.
He really is a fascinating guy, Pat. He, obviously we had high expectations for him coming in. You talk about lottery picks and all those kind of things, so you automatically think, well, this kid, he better be really good, and you kind of forget he is as young as he is, and you see that sometimes in some of his decision making out on the floor that he's still a pretty young kid, but then you see what all the hype was about too, and I think part of any player's psyche that is a good player is a belief in themselves, and even when he hasn't made a lot of threes this year, he just steps up and hits some threes. He has been shooting a lot better recently from three. It was pretty low bar to shoot better, but I liked his aggressiveness, not just the threes, but he's at his best when he turns that corner off the high screen and gets to the rim, and he's tall and crafty, and then he hit a little fadeaway jumper in the key that was something he hadn't done before. So clearly he can play, and I think he's gotten better, and he's getting more confident and making better decisions. He still makes me nervous when he's out there because he is a young kid and he'll turn the ball over, but I think you can see just his size and passing ability and ability to handle the basketball, why people are so excited about him and why NBA teams salivate over him a little bit. So, but the thing you always have to remind yourself is he is so young, and he's got a lot of room for improvement, and he is getting better. But I love his carefree, happy attitude. He's fun to talk to. He's really humble. And you got to remember, he's young, but what a life this kid has led.
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
He grew up in Russia.
Yeah.
He left at 15 to go to Spain, didn't speak the language. He's playing, and then he comes to America, and it's a whole new situation, and he's absolutely beloved by the fans here. After the game, they just absolutely love him. And so, I mean, he's lived quite a life already at 19, but I think when you kind of go through that, it's hard to phase a kid like that because he's already been through a lot of stuff, and this is just another challenge that I'll face.
BYU basketball radio analyst Mark Durrant joining us. Mark, you're sitting there in the arena, and the Wisconsin game happens first. Now you're getting ready for your broadcast, and there's a pregame show and all that. How much of that game did you get to watch? What were your takeaways from Wisconsin? What should people expect in the second round?
Yeah, I watched that game, and this is not the Wisconsin team of old where they're, scoring 40, 50 points a game. This is a team that likes to put up a lot of points. So it'll be a different game than even what we saw against VCU. And they're big. They got a couple bigs that are super solid. I think they like to put it on the floor. Not a great three-point shooting team, at least from what I saw, but they like to put it on the floor, get to the rim, crash the boards, that type of thing. But they're a talented team, a lot more physical. I think they're just going to try and overpower you. And that worried me a lot more in years past. That was always kind of seemed to be an athleticism gap. And you face some of the teams like Wisconsin, and they just kind of bully you into a victory. But I think BYU's got the athletes now to match that, and guys like Kebaketa and Fuseni. And I think I feel confident about that. I think it's going to be a fun game, a lot of points, probably be up in the 80s, 90s between these two teams. And but they do have some good size, and so that concerns me a little bit. But overall, I think it's a really good matchup. The teams are actually pretty similar.
Yeah, I watched that game myself, figuring I fully believed that BYU was going to win, so I was watching it from a different point of view and trying to get some insight into Wisconsin. And I did come away with the similarities between the two. It seems to me that they're very strong. The thing that does worry me a little bit is the height with Wisconsin, and knowing that Keita's got the height, but Foose is an undersized big man, and that you need his scoring. And now, if they're hitting the threes like they did against Iowa State last week, maybe not. But, as the stakes get higher, it becomes more difficult to just be free-flowing because the pressure is there. How do you think he'll be able to do, Foose, I'm speaking of, against guys that are so tall? Because I like it when the Cougars are able to play foosball.
Foose is really remarkable. I mean, he is so undersized. I'm not a huge guy. I'm 6'7", but I'm probably taller than Foose. But he's got an amazing ability. He's big and solid, and he's got a low center of gravity. And it's almost better when he plays against bigger guys because he just gets into their legs and just moves people. He's able to create space and then score over the top of those guys. Every time I think BYU is really going to have trouble with a team that has real size. For instance, VCU is one of the top shot blocking teams in the country, and Foose and Keba handled them. They out-rebounded VCU by 9, and they've done that all year. They've been a great rebounding team. And Keba, as amazing as he is, and as Adonis-like as he is, he's not particularly tall. I mean, Cannon Catchings is taller than Keba, and so they've gone up against 7-footers every night in the Big 12, and yet somehow they seem to be a great rebounding team and seem to still be able to score in the paint. So as good as Wisconsin is inside and as big as they are, I don't expect that Foose or Keba is going to have any particular problem doing what they've been doing.
Saunders was 1 for 6 from 3. How much do you think it's just the law of averages here and he's due to have a good game because he's had so many good games? This is just how it goes. And how much do you think, man, there's very little time to prepare, and the one thing every coach does is figure out who's the leading scorer, where does he get his shots, take them away, which makes it hard.
Well, he's clearly had too many tater tots lately. It's kind of weighing him
nice.
down. But listen, he has – I think his shooting has slumped a little bit in the last couple of weeks. And when I say slumped, it's gone from maybe 43% to 35%. But he's, obviously he's the number one guy on the scouting report, and teams are going to do whatever they can to slow him down and contest his shots. So it's natural that those numbers are going to come down a little bit. But, he's just such a solid player. He's not one-dimensional. Yeah, he can have a tough night from 3, but he goes and he's able to put his head down and get to the rim or to shoot a little floater, or, some of the times that they've spent so much attention on him that leaves guys like Trevin and Yegor and others and Dawson Baker open for 3. So Richie's the consummate team player. He'll do what needs to be done. he'll make a bucket when a bucket needs to be made. But he's getting a lot of attention on social media and from other teams. And when you're a star of a team, they're gonna. If I'm a coach, it's coaching malpractice if I don't do everything I can to stop the other team's best player. So I think he's just fine. But yeah, I mean, Richie's such a unique player. I mean, he's just what he's able to do, and his mentality and how hard he plays. And he's obviously such a big part of what the success BYU's having. You need a guy that you can count on for 15 to 25 points a night. And he's as solid as they come to do that. And the interesting thing about this team is then you've got 9 or 10 other guys. You don't know where you're going to get points from. It could be any of those guys. Last night it was Foose and Yegor. Another night it'll be Dawson and Dallin or Trevin. And that's really hard to guard. And I think Richie makes that possible because of his consistency. And so not a great shooting night, but still, he gets 16 points. He does a lot for you and helps you win the game.
Well, Mark, we hope they win, and you will continue next week. At my core, I'm a North Jersey boy, and that's where you'll be going next week. So I anticipate you being there, and let the people know that BYU out here in Utah, we got some North Jersey in us, brother.
You going to come out, Pat, man? I miss traveling on the road with you, brother.
I know. I would love to be there. I had some pains of not being there, particularly in that arena where we've been a couple of times for sure.
Well, have David shell out some of that James money and get you on a flight because like you said, I'm the cool one of the two, me and Rubel, and you're the cool one of the James and Linehan. So we need to hang out.
Only one of us has been to Maui this month. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, and I went. I did go to Maui, and my whole thing was, while BYU stacking days, when I was in Maui, I was stacking rays.
I love it. You guys are the best. Thanks for having me on. All
right. Thanks, Mark. Yeah. Mark Durrant, BYU basketball radio analyst, joining us here on The Zone. BYU assistant coach John Linehan joins us next. Stay with us.
You love your dog. You can't imagine life without him. So it's time to vote for Fido and the rest of his kind.
What up, dog?
It's the Man's Best Friend Bracket Challenge, where you can vote for the best dogs on the planet. Vote now at KSLSports.com. But take your time. We know these decisions can be rough. Really? Rough? Who wrote this?
You better watch yourself, big dog.
It's the Man's Best Friend Bracket Challenge. Going on at KSLSports.com. Powered by IFA. Stop by one of their stores today or visit them online at IFA.coop. IFA. Helping to grow the things you love.
DJ and PK. Brought to you in part by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary, 801-899-7600, or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. DJ and PK, we are one day into the NCAA tournament. The SEC is 4-3. I guess you have to go back and include Texas's loss, not yesterday, but nonetheless, the teams are 4-3. 3 of the 14 are already gone. They're playing again in about half the games today with 7 more SEC teams in action. 3-1 for the Big 12. How do you like that for day one? Kansas, which was fading at the end of the year, lost their first-round game, but everybody else won.
Yeah, Kansas, man, a couple of bad years for them. I think it's stopped a streak of 17 years of advancing at least to one game.
Baylor will tip things off the very first game of the day at 10:15. Baylor's playing Mississippi State, so that's Big 12 versus SEC right there. And Iowa State should beat Lipscomb at 11:30, 3 versus a 14. So things going well for the Big 12. DJ PK, we're joined right now by BYU assistant coach John Linehan. John, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good. What is the euphoria? What is the feeling walking off the court after winning an NCAA tournament game like?
Oh, man, it was special. It was a great feeling, a lot of excitement. Our fans were awesome. And I felt just amazing it was an amazing feeling for our players, man. You know, just the hard work that they put in every day. You know, to have a win like that, to first make it to the tournament, then win, and want to continue to do well in the tournament. But it was an awesome feeling.
As you guys advance, the stakes get higher and higher, and I think the games obviously get more difficult. Now, you're a Philly guy, right? And that's where you are from your core. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm a North Jersey guy, but I spent a lot of time across the water there, the bridge in South Jersey, West Deptford, Ocean City. So I got some Jersey toughness. And you're known as a Big East dude. And when I think of Big East basketball, I think of toughness. And that's what you had when you played with your stellar defense. As you go up against a Wisconsin team, how much of it is going to be from the defensive end and is a mindset that you guys need to dig in and really prepare to defend these guys?
You know, it's a lot of the schemes and everything go out the window during this time, right? You can have the greatest plan, you know, but it all comes down to the 50-50 battles, rebounding, you know, getting stops in crucial moments. And also, I mean, you have to score the ball. But the toughness piece, the toughness mindset is crucial, you know. And I thought, you know, for the latter part of the conference season, I thought we displayed that toughness, man, and that focus on the defensive end, you know, to come out and it's showing, you know, game by game, man, it's been showing. So definitely proud of our guys in that from that standpoint. But to your point, the toughness piece is crucial.
Joining Kevin Young's staff this year and hearing you're going to be on the radio, I looked up your resume here. I don't see immediately how you crossed paths with him. What is your link? How did you end up on his staff at BYU?
Well, first off, it's an unbelievable honor. It's a great opportunity to be on his staff and be a part of BYU family. It's been unbelievable so far. But when I retired from playing professionally, I was a grad assistant at Temple University, and during that time, Kevin was he was an assistant with the Sixers, and you know they would come and practice in our gym, and that's when I was first introduced to him. And my head coach last year at St. Joe's, he and Kevin were really good friends, and Billy actually used to bring me on, and you know they used to put me in the pre-draft workouts. And I could still get up and down pretty well at that time. And so it's like 2 summers in a row, you know, that I was working with the Sixers, and Kevin brought me down to do outside of the pre-draft camps, the kind of the tryout process when he was with the 87ers. So that's kind of how our relationship started.
As you guys win, then you immediately turn your attention to Wisconsin, and you scout them and everything and all that, and they're a very good team. I was impressed with them. I watched them because I figured you guys would win and try to get a good feel on them. And I think they've got a lot of different things going for them. They got several guys, big guys that shoot well over 40 or 50%. Their guards are in the high 40s as far as their shooting percentages. What do you see as some things that you need to do as a team to be able to beat these guys?
Yeah, I mean, they're a really good team. You know, and it's going to be a tough game. But we have to, you know, limit their guard play. You know, they have 2 really good guards in Tanji and Blackwell. You know, so we're going to have to, you know, focus on, you know, defending those guys and making every shot that they take contested and tough. We're going to have to, you know, be able to get out to their bigs because their bigs can shoot it pretty well and they like to pick and pop. You know, so we have to be ready to guard them and guard the ball. And we have to rebound, you know, so it's a tough task, you know, but our guys are ready. You know, like I said before, they've been locked in, they've been focused, and, you know, their mindset is we're not here to win one game, you know, so when you have that focus, that determination, you know, you're going to figure it out.
I don't want to ask you who your favorite kid is. That's what I said right before I ask you who your favorite kid is. But I want you to have a different perspective. Fans look at the defensive end of the court, and they notice the steals and the block shots, and that's playing good defense, and sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. Sometimes people are taking reckless chances. Who in your mind are it doesn't have to be just one, but 1, 2, 3 guys on your team who you think defensively they really have it together, you can really trust them, and these are the guys in the biggest moments you turn to for a critical stop?
Yep. Well, I mean, I think our whole team is really buying into defense and really being focused on that end of the floor. So it's kind of hard to pick three, but if I had to pick three, I mean, obviously Mag. He's really came on, halfway through the season till now as being a guy that we put on their best player and a guy that we need to slow down. So he's a guy that's who's taken on that role and has done a great job so far. Next guy, I mean, I love Richie, right? I mean, Richie just, his motor, his competitive spirit, just his will to win. I mean, I love that about him. Dallin, he's another guy that, whatever we ask him to do, he's going to do. He can guard a 6'10" guy and Hawkins at Kansas City. At Kansas State rather, or the point guard. Mo, Richie, Dallin, Trey when he comes into the game, he gives us big moments defensively. But like I said, it's hard to pick just three because everybody locks in and make big plays in big times of the game. So, I really like our group defensively.
Coach, I'm glad you mentioned Dallin Hall because I think he defines what you're looking for in toughness. And also, if I look at somebody who's had to sacrifice his game for the sake of the team and winning, I'd put him right at the top. And you've been around him now this year. I know you guys are new. But what does it mean when you've got an upperclassman who's willing to sacrifice, come off the bench, and basically do whatever it takes to help you win in terms of setting an example for everybody else?
Yeah, I mean, Dallin he's been the heart of this group, believe it or not, just because of the sacrifices that he's made, the selflessness mindset that he has, the leave it all out on the floor. He's the most vocal leader that we have on our team. But he's our guy. When he plays well, he just gives us another layer that's so huge for the team. So his value to the team is monumental. It's he's an elite player.
In your career, you have been different places, small schools, big schools, the mid-major type school. I'm curious because you were at Georgia for a while in the SEC, and that league is doing great now, and you probably know a bunch of people there. I think BYU's got a lot of things going for it, but are there a couple things that SEC schools have that BYU needs to add? You can compare that because you were right in the middle of it. What do you think?
No, I think BYU is positioned to be amongst the best in the country. Given the resources, the support, the coaching staff, I don't see a better university, a better program in the country than BYU. And like you said, I've been in multiple conferences with some really good coaching staffs and really good leagues, but BYU ranks amongst the best of them all.
Denham comes out, hits a couple of threes. Speak to his play and how much do you think that it is improving so he's ready for these moments?
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard on an 18, 19-year-old kid to come in and just live up to the expectations that are placed on him, right? It's a ton of pressure. And everyone has to realize it's part of the process, and everybody's journey is different, but the kid works hard every single day. He's in the gym multiple hours by himself every single day, so it's just a matter of time for it to really start clicking in. But you can see game by game, he had an incredible start, then he got hurt, then he's been kind of up and down. But, because of his work ethic, his mindset, his skill set, it's going to eventually click for him. But, when he comes out and he plays as solid as he did last game, he's a special kid.
So you grew up in Philly. You went away to Providence, all the way to Providence. And if you weren't homesick, you probably had teammates who were, or maybe there's both. How much do you have to work with him on all the non-basketball stuff? Because he's so far from home. He's now living in his second foreign country. Or does all that stuff just come natural to him and you really can focus on basketball?
You know what? It all comes natural to him. I mean, he's been away from home for years now, having played, in Spain and other places, so he's kind of built up that I can survive by myself kind of mentality. He's a pro's pro from the standpoint of his routine every day. So I think he focuses more on that rather than, oh man, I miss. And I'm sure he misses mom and dad and his family, but he's locked in on a mission. And that's what's special about the kid. I mean, he's a very mature young man for his age.
Coach, if you go to the Final Four, I'll tell you what, man. You and I will go down the shore, and I'll buy you a cheesesteak.
Man, listen, I'm waiting for that day, brother. But I'm going to show you some good spots down there when we get there.
Okay. Coach, we appreciate a few minutes. Thanks for taking the time out to join us and talk to all your fans. I know they appreciate it too.
Oh, man, I love it, man. Go Cougs. Continue to support. We're in for a special ride, man, but I appreciate it, guys.
John Linehan, BYU assistant basketball coach, joining us right here on The Zone. You just love getting Philly, Jersey, New York guys. There's just one way or another. I was in South Jersey.
If you've been there, It creates a bond, especially out here in Utah.
No, that's the thing, is being so far away and finding some link.
Yeah.
But it's funny how important food is, which, you don't have to explain to listeners of this station because I think like half of Scotty and Hans' show is food. It's just nonstop with the food. But it's true, and there's a power to it. I'll never forget when we had Rick Neuheisel on the show, who, coached at UCLA and Colorado and Washington. It was a TV big shot. And you're like, we got to break through. I got a local reference. I think he's going to like. He's going to warm up. We got to get this in real quick. And you hit him with Uncle Bill's in Manhattan Beach. And sure enough, he lit up. Pancakes and scrambled eggs, baby. That got him going. Uncle Bill's.
That is a famous breakfast place.
I had not heard of it or been there. And subsequently, I've been there 3 times. The only problem with that place is the crowds. That's the only thing I haven't figured out.
Particularly on the weekends. Yeah.
It's just getting loved to death, man. There's too many people going to Uncle Bill's.
And they don't seat you unless your entire party is there.
Right.
And I took some friends that we went to Hawaii with there. And who comes walking up to eat but Vince Vaughn.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
And I'm used to seeing those types down there.
Mr. Movie Star.
And
because if you have movie star money living along the water, Manhattan Beach, Santa Monica, Marina Del Rey.
And living in that area.
Yeah.
When I did, it's
you're
not
close
that
to the
big
airport if you got to get in and out.
Yeah, and then covering Laker games. I've been around a lot of movie types.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it might be. I had Sylvester Stallone touch my shoulder once and said, "Excuse me," as he was walking by at the L.A. Open once. But they were just enthralled with Vince Vaughn, and I didn't do anything about it. But sure enough, the gal, I'm going up to say hello. And the next thing you know, I kind of stood back. But the next thing you know, hey, get over here. And we're taking our picture with Vince Vaughn. He was super nice.
Food. It's quite the tie. All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Your feedback's coming up next. Stay with us.
And it's all over almost here.
Don't go nowhere.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Question of the morning. What is your reaction to the Cougars finally winning an NCAA tournament game? They're in the round of 32 for the first time since Jimmer in 2011.
Money well spent.
Right? And that'll get a lot of people's back up, but this is just college sports going forward. It's football and basketball for sure, and then every school will take some of this money that they're going to get from the court settlement, decide, do we want to support a third or fourth team on campus? And depending on what school you're at, I read Penn State's going to put money into wrestling, right? Some of the Texas schools are really good at baseball and will probably put money into that.
I think you should do it all across the board.
Well, but some won't, and some will say, hey, let's not do that. We want to put it here and have more and win.
Yeah, but if you're going to have an athletic program, you want all the teams to win because all those people are working just as hard as the other ones.
I get it, but it won't happen that way. And some schools will drop sports and really bring that. I mean, Stanford's got plenty of money, and they were trying to drop sports a few years ago. Not because they're out of money. Just didn't want to do it.
Well, they're also trying to drop squash, but that's another story.
Yeah, I get it. They have a lot of sports.
Yes, they do.
11-2, highly ranked. I'm still like, wait, did that just really happen?
No.
Everybody's got a gift for this.
No, I knew it happened in February.
You could see that this
There's no
team.
question.
Well, and everybody will say they were 6th last year and they played a team from the same league. Yeah, but go look at the way last year's team played in February, especially when they left the Marriott Center.
This team is much
better. They were vulnerable. This team left the Marriott Center and won games again and again.
They're more talented.
Yes. They're deeper.
And
if someone struggles,
and
they can go to somebody else.
The kids who returned are better.
They learned from it, right?
Saunders and Hall are better.
So improve
Foose and Nell probably the same.
Technically, talent-wise, plus you've got the experience, the poise, all the psychological pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And it adds up to a W.
Yeah, I had really – you never have no doubt. But aside from that, I had
You were right about the radio
belief.
broadcast with Mark, though, because I had occasion to be in my car for a little bit in the first half. And when it was going back and forth, it was, they were just trading the lead and tying the game up 15-all, 20-all. And Craig was pretty wired right then. I think that the fans, he really had the pulse of the fans as far as this has got to go right and it could go wrong. And I think Mark was more of, I see two teams here, and one of them looks better to me.
Yes.
Which, over time, that plays out, whether it takes 10, 15, 25 minutes, whatever it is. It happened in the Wisconsin-Montana game. Montana was right there with 15 minutes to go, and then Wisconsin dropped a run on them, and it was over.
Which is fairly common. But I thought BYU controlled the game.
Yeah.
I felt they played with confidence. Against Duquesne, they didn't. They were running uphill the entire time. And here, it just didn't seem that way to me. It seemed like we've got this. We're a really good team. You go win at Iowa State. You go win at Arizona. You beat Kansas by 20 or whatever it was. That just generates confidence. Pablo Mascheroni was talking about it, the confidence when he's teaching something and then it comes to pass, they do it. And they see the results, they have confidence. The belief is so important, and clearly the Cougars had it. I believe they'll have it here, but I'm 50-50. Whoever plays better will win against Wisconsin.
U-State Iceman, money, money, and more money. If your team wants to win in the big dance, you need money, NIL money. So the answer is money. That's my reaction, PK. You know best. Always follow the money.
Well, that's the reality, but we act like that's a negative now.
Yeah, you act like it's dirty, and it's not.
Not
it's
anymore.
Not. No, this is college basketball is Major League Baseball. Money matters. There is no salary cap. There will be teams out there who, like the Rays in Tampa Bay, have a lot of success with less money, and there will be teams that spend a lot of money on the wrong people and blow it and go out in the first round of the tournament, like Kansas. All the things we've seen about economics in baseball, I think we're going to see play out in college basketball.
I think we have been seeing it.
Probably. It's just be more pronounced now, more obvious. Because people can talk about who has NIL money, and before they couldn't talk about which team was paying $100,000 for that guy or $100,000 for this guy. But guys were getting $100,000. Yes.
It was being done.
It was happening.
Now it's above board. And Alford gave a great speech about it the other day. I don't know if you heard that.
I did not. What did he say?
Just about
this would be Steve Alford, the longtime coach, and
just talking about all the changes. And we may not like them, but here they are.
Yeah.
And you're either going to adapt or you're going to get pushed aside.
Have the money and spend it wisely.
Yeah.
All right, DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Jake and Ben are coming up next. Stay with us.